I don't know.
Kind of exciting. I'm glad you mentioned the Knicks, Lou, because they also played last night. Hosting Atlanta. We knew this was going to be something. These two teams don't like each other. The fans don't like each other. And the Hawks went in and took care of business. They're headed to Vegas as well. 108-100. They now have the best record since Thanksgiving. TRAE Young, 22 points, 11 assists, 5 rebounds. Jalen Johnson had 21, 15, and 7. DeAndre Hunter with 24 points off the bench. Cat had 19 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 blocks. They basically walked in, walked out, headed to Vegas, looked like they were on every level, just out hustling, outdoing the Knicks, especially in the second half, Lou. You had the Hawks winning this one, so what'd you see? No, okay, here we go.
No, listen, I'm all in. I told you I was a part of the beginning of this rivalry that's starting to bud out, for the Knicks and the Hawks, and it's exciting, especially for Atlanta. And what people have to realize, the New York Knicks, they have 5 or 6 different rivals, whether it's the Boston Celtics, Los Angeles Lakers, Philly, so on and so forth. Atlanta is still establishing who their rival is. And so to have this much attention on the Atlanta Hawks every time that they play the New York Knicks since the bubble season, this is a big deal for Atlanta. I know how they were going into this game looking at it, especially TRAE Young. TRAE Young is one of those players, he gets up by being the villain. He likes wearing that hat. He loves it, especially in a place like Madison Square Garden, where you can go in there and 18 to 19,000 people are chanting F you. That's when he loves it. So give TRAE credit. He was the head of that snake last night, but he got a lot of good things from a lot of different places. Rashasha. He didn't have a great night offensively. I don't even know how to say his name the right way now with DC Fly. He didn't have a great game offensively, but he was a glue guy. He was there to defend. Give them credit for Dotson Daniels and mirroring his minutes to Jalen Brunson, making it tough on him. And then you got your bench, right? You got Bogey Bogdanovic coming in, and you got DeAndre Hunter coming in, who are established veterans, guys that have started so many different games in their careers. Now you have those two guys coming off the bench and they're embracing those roles, and you're getting big minutes out of them. Jalen Johnson was another guy. The Atlanta Hawks did everything from top to bottom to give themselves an opportunity to win this game and move on and go to Vegas. And it's a great feeling.
Yeah, the Hawks have all these players that are very similar and very versatile. When you look at Rashasha and Johnson and Daniels and Hunter and Bogdanovic, first of all, what a luxury to have Hunter and Okongwu. God, they have some crazy-ass names. Okongwu and Bogey off the bench. Like, those 3 guys are starters in the NBA.
That's
so the fact that they have those 3 guys off the bench, Jalen Johnson, he's next up for Atlanta. He is a future all-star. He's an absolute stud. And TRAE Young, you can't talk about the Hawks without talking about TRAE Young. It looks like he is playing with peace. He looks like he is more mature. Like Lou said, he is embracing this whole rivalry and this whole villain thing. You can see some players don't want that kind of smoke. TRAE Young loves it. He wants it. And you know what's a fun fact about TRAE Young? Michelle?
Wow, here we go.
He's been in the NBA 7 seasons. He's been to the playoffs 3 times. He went to the Eastern Conference Finals once. He's never had an all-star teammate. Think about that. He's never had an all-star teammate. So he's done this a lot on his own. People would knock him for trying to do too much, take these bad shots, score. He's been forced to do that. Now he's got the Jalen Johnson, who's an up-and-coming star. Now he's got these pieces around him that are fitting in with him. And it's almost like they're determining a pecking order and just roles that is really helping TRAE Young's game thrive. So this team's dangerous. They've showed us already in the beginning of the year they can beat anybody. They've knocked off some of the top teams already.
The best team.
Kind of reminds me of Indy last year in this NBA Cup, where they're kind of hitting their momentum at the right stride now, and they're dangerous. They're a super dangerous team.
They beat the Celtics. They beat the Cavs twice. They're
like,
good.
It's hard to not take them in Vegas against Milwaukee. Like, I'm not betting against the Hawks.
I don't think I am either.
It's crazy what they're doing. And again, it's because they have that versatility. They have all these guys from 6'6" to 6'9" that can do it all, and they just fit.
The moment from, and as you said, he loves it. He loves being the villain. Not everyone's cut out for it. TRAE Young very much so is, but he's rolling the dice on the logo, which is brilliant, by the way, as they head to Vegas. 1 to 10. How much do we love it, Chandler?
10. 10 and a half, 11. It's unbelievable.
By the way, I love the Knicks, but this is funny.
This is the Mecca. This is Madison Square Garden. Everything that goes into this whole rivalry, with him telling the fans to get the hell out of here in Atlanta, to him with the whole series last year and the kind of the beef, the rivalry that started, him doing this, just stamping his ticket to Vegas. couldn't be more hyped for Trae Young, couldn't be more proud of him. And again, winning cures everything. This is all just a distant memory of the narrative that Trae Young is this coach killer and he's going to get traded. Like, you win games, you start putting performances like this, and you kind of start gaining respect. All that is just a memory, and all that is just words. Like, continue to win and continue to grow with these guys, and Trae Young is going to be just fine. Kendrick Perkins, I don't agree with a lot of things he says, and he's good at his job, but he said Trae Young's the most disrespected star since Carmelo Anthony.
Who said that? Kendrick
Perkins. And I agree. What else does this dude have to do? He went to the Eastern Conference Finals. He's been an all-star. He puts up points. He leads the league in assists. Like, what else does Trae Young have to do to get everyone else's respect?
That's an interesting one. What do you think about the rolling of the dice?
You know, honestly, y'all gonna be pissed off, but I know what this celebration actually means.
What does it mean?
I'll allow Trae to expand on that. So when I saw it, I bust out laughing because I knew what the backstory was. It's not just him rolling dice on the logo. It has a backstory. He just happened to be at the right place at the right time, and he did it on the logo. But this is
you gotta tell us what it is. You gotta tell us.
Listen, it's not my place. It's honestly not my place. It's not, but this is funny, man, and just to see these guys, I know, pooper. I shouldn't even brought it up.
Yeah.
Seriously. Now we're trying to figure it out.
Yeah, it's fun to see. It's fun to see, and I love the fact after the game when they asked him about it, then they asked him about this rivalry. You know, he kept it in perspective. Like, this is just competition. I don't actually hate these fans, and they don't really hate me. Like, if the same way that they were booing him and saying F Trae Young when he hits one of those deep bombs. The New York Knicks fans, they're the type of fan base that are gonna clap. They're gonna cheer that as well. So I was happy to see that.
I'm gonna stop. No,
that's where they're wrong. I think the fans
you're wrong there. I know a lot of Knicks fans. I'm telling
you, they don't love him when they're competing. Once it's over with, it's over with. And so for him to take that high road.
I don't think he's gonna get.
If I go up to a Knicks fan right now, and I know one very well, and I say Trae Young, I promise you the next words out of this man's mouth are F that dude.
And if you run into 10 more, there'll probably be 5 more that's gonna say this is like I'm not saying they love Trae Young and nothing like that.
Ever.
This is competition. This is not real hate. Like, he's not in danger.
I don't think he's going to get beat up at Carbone tonight. Like,
but they're not going to give him water if he's dying of thirst either. Like, I think it's that.
But if Trae Young is a free agent, you don't think the New York Knicks will want to put their names in that hat?
That's an interesting question, isn't it?
Exactly. So this is competition. Trae Young, like, let's be clear. Even though we love this, Trae Young's not the only guy that gets booed when it comes to MSG. He's not the only.
I will say this rivalry is not going anywhere though, because reminds me of the college football where they put the flag in the middle, like when this isn't going. This is now the Knicks see this, the fans see this, so now next time he goes,
was right there.
It's going to be even more unruly than it has been. So again, I love it. Do I think he's in danger? No, but I definitely think that the Knicks feel a certain way about it.
I will say this.
Chandler, even when they're in Atlanta, and he told them to take y'all ass home. A lot of those New York Knicks fans live in Atlanta. Like, they didn't travel in from New York. We have a lot of transplants from New York City that's in Atlanta that's going to come to our stadium in Atlanta, and they're going to boo Trae Young and then still hang out in Atlanta and love Trae Young on every other night that the Atlanta Hawks play besides when they play the New York Knicks.
I mean, look, they do chant F Trae Young the entire game. He was asked about it afterwards. Here he is.
Speaking of the fourth quarter, we saw you do some skipping. Good form. How would you describe your relationship with the New York fans?
Oh, it's a love-hate relationship. I mean, I got a lot of love and a lot of hate, I guess, from them, but I got a lot of love from them too, so it's a respect.
Congratulations. Good luck in Vegas.
Appreciate it. See y'all there.
Another impressive performance from Trae Young at Madison Square Garden.
He did skip, which I thought was funny too. He's a heel.
Nobody says that. Nobody says that if they don't feel like Chandler. You've played at some places that people hate us. Like,
for sure.
Real.
And by the way, this is good. This is just Lou. This is sports in general. Half the people in Memphis hate me on Twitter during a game. And then I see them at dinner and they show love and they want to take. But like, a lot of it's fake. It's false hustle. Like it's.
No, I don't think.
But
as a
when
fan,
it comes to New York, I think they're a little bit more aggressive, and I think there's actually some passionate hate.
I think sometimes.
Who's more likely to be confronted? You in Memphis or Trae Young in New York?
Oof. I don't know, man. They hated me in Memphis. Probably me in Memphis.
I would think you.
Because also, like, New York's got so much else going on. At the end of the day, like Memphis, that was the whole show.
Sports hate is a different thing than like just hate, right? Like, I say I hate players. I don't actually care at the end of the day. They're not in my actual circle of life, or whatever. Right. But I do hate them as a sports fan.
Either way, I think it's fantastic for this season. I think it's great for the league. I think it's great for these two teams. I hope they're great for years, and I hope they play in the playoffs every single year so we see more of this.
I know. I was listening to the radio call for a bit before I got home, and Monica McNutt was talking about she's like, I'm not sure if I can call it a rivalry yet. And I was like, you know what? I actually think you can, and it is 100% fueled by Trae Young.
As long as Trae Young is there,
it's funny because there's not a rivalry with the Hawks and the Knicks.
Not at all.
There's a rivalry with Trae Young and the Knicks.
And that's for me is...
If Trae Young gets traded tomorrow to the Pacers now have a rivalry with the Knicks because it's Trae Young.
Exactly.
It has nothing to do with Atlanta.
Wherever Trae Young goes.
Yeah.
Hey, Lou, do you want to tease us up for when we go to break?
Coming up next, Jimmy Butler. Will he end up in Phoenix on Run It Back?
I thought he was joining the show.
Yeah.
Run it up, run it back, yeah. Run it up, run it back, run it up.